Hey, what's up, everybody? This is CJ Watson, former NBA player. You're watching 2K and Chill.
CJ Watson, Mr. Bench Mob himself on the podcast. Oof. Your boy is blessed, man. What up, everybody? It's your boy STG, and welcome to 2K and Chill, where we talk, we laugh, and we inspire all over a fun game of NBA 2K. I'm so humbled to announce that we have CJ Watson in today's episode. It was just such a surreal conversation. We talk about him going undrafted to going to the NBA, playing with the Bulls, with Derrick Rose, making his mark, and everything he's doing now after his retirement. It's definitely a conversation, especially if you're a fan of the game, that you have to listen to. If you're brand new to this channel, watching this for the first time, hit that like button and give this channel a chance by subscribing. I'm working really hard to get this show to the next level. I appreciate y'all, and I hope you guys enjoy this episode. CJ, welcome on 2K and Chill. How are you doing, man?
Doing good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. This is just surreal because, a lot of the OGs watching the channel over here know that I'm one of the biggest Chicago Bulls fans out there. And the fact that we got, somebody from, the squad that we all grew up watching, in which, the city was just electrified. We got Bench Mob himself, man, CJ Watson. I'm so grateful to have you on this episode. And, before we really dive deep and everything in between, as we were just talking about beforehand, motivating and inspiring people is something that I think is something that I've always been passionate about. I know you're passionate about, and I'm just really happy to have you on here, man, so we can just kind of kick back. And I'm going to be playing 2K if that's okay. I'm going to be rocking with, the 2010, 2011 Bulls over here. I got you in the starting lineup alongside with D Rose as
Okay.
requested. And we're going to be going up against Dallas. So we're going up against the 2010, 2011 Dallas Mavericks, which, Dirk and Marion and everybody in between. But we're going to have a lot of fun. And how are you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm honored to be on the show, so I'm definitely thanks for having me on.
Of course, man. So I'm going to go ahead and start this game as we kind of get started. And we're going to just have a lot of fun and kind of go back in time, but obviously talk a lot about what you're doing now and everything in between. But kind of getting straight to it, there's a phrase that we all say. I say it too. Ball is life. For you, was ball always life, or like talk to me a little bit about that? Like, did you always
Yeah.
start? Were you grow up hooping, or how did that kind of play out?
Yeah, so I was born in Vegas. My parents moved here maybe like a year or two before I was born. So, and yeah, all my family played sports. They played basketball, they ran track, they did, baseball, volleyball, everything. So my family is full of athletes.
Yeah,
But yeah, for me, like basketball was just everything. Just it kept me out of trouble. 'Cause in the neighborhood I grew up in, is easy to get in trouble and stuff like that. So basketball kept me focused year round because it's a year round sport, and it just kept me, kind of off the streets and just having friends, hanging out with friends, and giving us something to do, in the spare time.
absolutely. And when you started like playing, at what age did you realize like, yo, like I got game, like I could actually do something with this?
Maybe probably maybe like I would say like maybe sixth or seventh grade maybe. I would say I would always say I wasn't the most talented, but I just worked the hardest. My parents just instilled in me a great work ethic. So, and I just wanted to help my family, get out of the inner city, and just make some of myself. And that my parents and all my aunts and uncles always talked about going to college. So I always wanted to get to college, to make them proud.
Yeah, awesome, man. And we're gonna talk a lot about the work ethic. And so when you'd say you were like in high school, is that when like a lot of conversations started happening? Like, yo, you actually have a chance to go to the league, to play college, like all that type of stuff. Is high school when like you really started like seeing your game elevate?
Yeah, high school is when I saw it elevate. Also, when I started playing against, better competition, going to different camps, going to all these AAU tournaments and stuff like that, where all the big time players are at. So I think that's kind of where I really saw, like, hey, I might be pretty good. I can go to college. And then from there, I really never honestly thought about the NBA. I only thought about college. I didn't think about
One step
the
at a
NBA
time.
until I got to college. Yeah, so yeah, one step at a time. And then when I played in the USA team, with like Darren Williams, D Brown, JJ Redick, all those guys were talking about how they want to go one and done, and I didn't. I always thought about, everyone's supposed to stay 4 years, so
Yeah.
that kind of really opened up my mind to, just to different things.
Absolutely, man. And we're gonna obviously dive deep into like your work ethic during like the league and things like that. But just talk to me a little bit about like your work ethic, because you mentioned that was big for you growing up. What did that look like in high school? Because a lot of people think like you just got raw talent, but you put the work in. So kind of talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, man, I was just super dedicated. I just wanted it to be good and to be great and leave a legacy, especially at high school. I would be working out during school, like when I had so I was fortunate enough for my coach to be my PE teacher. So we would work out during that PE session, during that class session. So I would get another workout in during the day, and then also at practice, then weights and stuff after. So, and then one of my coaches, Robert Smith, he played in the NBA, so he kind of instilled in us also the work ethic that you need to have to get there,
Yeah.
doing weights, doing cardio, training, year round. So that was kind of how I put it in place.
Awesome, man. Well, kind of like now flash forwarding, right? Because you played college and you now realize like, hey, I actually have a shot, right? And obviously getting undrafted, I'm sure, was an experience. So kind of walk me through that mentally. Like now you know that you can hoop and you go undrafted and obviously you're going to now play overseas and things like that. But just kind of walk me through the mental like process of not getting drafted.
That was probably one of the worst, times in my life. I feel like I always tell people I only cried a couple times in my life.
Yeah.
One was from not getting drafted, and another one was my grandma died. So I definitely it was a big blow because I had a lot of great workouts. I knew I wasn't gonna go first round, but maybe second round. And a lot of people don't even know this, but my agent called me and told me like the Detroit Pistons were going to take you with the last pick of the draft. So I was, kind of excited about that. But then
Yeah.
the last pick comes and, they didn't call my name. So that's the way the business is. It happens, but you just move on. And we were already talking about, what to do next. And then obviously we chose to go overseas because I needed some money in my pocket coming out of college.
So walk me through like overseas. Like so now obviously you thought you were gonna go to the NBA. You didn't initially go to the NBA. What was life like overseas and like did it like kind of like bring about some like type of like competitive energy to like prove people wrong type of thing?
Yeah, I think more so it wasn't really prove anyone wrong. It's just more so it was a growth period for me,
Yeah.
going thousands of miles away from my family, going by myself, and then going to a different country where I didn't speak the language. I had to learn the language, had to learn the lay of the land, and it was just about growing up. I had to cook for myself, do everything for myself, laundry, stuff like that. Um, you know, just really just figuring out how to be a man, and I really learned how to be a professional basketball player because I had a couple teammates on my team, Ricky Renard, Mike Penberthy, who also already played in the NBA, but they kind of gave me the business side of things and just taught me a whole bunch about basketball. So I learned a lot through them. But I would say my first year overseas was very frustrating. I had a different coach every month. So every coach, every time I got adjusted to a coach, he would get fired. So it was crazy being overseas.
Wow, that is insane, man. And people you played with when you played overseas, like what were their goals like? Like were they trying to go to the NBA or is that just kind of like what they were planning on doing? Like what was that whole like dynamic like when playing overseas?
A couple of those guys, Mike Penberthy and Ricky Menard, they had already played in the league for a couple of years, but they knew they probably weren't going back, so they were trying to, make the most of overseas life. And they had moved their families with them and all that kind of stuff. So they were still making good money, and like I said, just being a good mentor, and still had games, so they still were, getting buckets and playing. So I definitely think that was kind of their goals. But for the most part, the guys that were already on the team, like the younger guys, they're just trying to, be the best they can and play on a pro team in their national city or country.
Absolutely. So you now obviously have the opportunity to play like in the D League. It's the G League now, but like when you played in the D League, how did that come about? Like was that a decision you made to kind of go over from overseas to play in the D League to go to the NBA? Like walk me through like what that transition in life was.
Yeah, I hated my time overseas. So I was like, I'm not going back over there.
Yeah.
I'd rather stay in America and try my luck. And everyone, all the agent or no, all the GMs and everything, presidents of the teams were saying I'm very close. Maybe getting a call up or something like that. So I said, let's just try this D League thing, and if it doesn't work out, then I'll just go get a record job, and figure it out from there. So, but it worked out. Like I said, I just kept putting the work in, kept believing in myself, and fortunate enough to get a call up from actually got a call up from two teams, the Charlotte Bobcats and the Golden State Warriors, but the Golden State Warriors pulled the trigger faster, so I'm definitely grateful for that.
So you get what a 10-day, right? With Golden State initially. What was that like, man? Like, like you see people, right? Like you see people get the 10-day and it's very often, probably more often than not, that the 10 days, 10 days and then they go back to, maybe where they were and things of that sort. You obviously got to play for the rest of the season with the Warriors. What was it like during that 10-day? Like what was the mindset like? Like, yo, I gotta go all out or like just walk me through that cuz that's pressure, man. Like that's your dream right
Yeah,
here.
that's
10 days like
yeah. Yeah, it's definitely pressure. It was stressful, but I just took it as another opportunity to go showcase my talents, and I feel like I've done everything I needed to do. So the opportunities now is whenever I get in the game, just be myself and just do what I do, and I did that. But like I said, it was stressful because I think the second 10 day, I don't think I got in the game, but I just kept practicing well, doing what they wanted, what they asked me to do. But the third one, I got a little more playing time, so it was just gradually getting better and better. But so, like I said, gradually, thankfully, I signed every 10 day, and then was fortunate enough to sign for the rest of the season.
That's awesome, man. And like, what are some of the things that, they look for, during like a 10-day, right? Because there's already a system, there's already players playing. So, one would think, oh, you're only based on scoring. Like, is that true? Or are there other like metrics that people are looking at and coaches want you to do, whether it's facilitating, playing defense? Can you kind of walk me through that?
Yeah, it's a little bit of everything. Then it's like the things on the side, like being on time for the bus, having a good
Wow.
attitude, character, your character. When you're not playing, are you still cheering for your teammates? Are you still being positive on the bench? Because all that stuff can be negative to some players, so and to a detriment of a team. So I definitely think when they're on a 10 day call up, they're looking at everything, not just your production on the court, but obviously that's a big part of it. But I think all the little stuff on the side is big also.
It's crazy because that's like culture, right? Like culture is a big part of teams. And one gem that I'm reminded of is like Haslam, right? Like, he was with the Heat for so long. And toward the end of his career, he wasn't even playing much, but it's because of what he brought to the team. So that's pretty cool to see that like team culture and things of that sort of things that like NBA teams value like tremendously. So
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
that's awesome, man. So now
They,
you sign
yeah,
with
they value all
they
that.
they they look at all that. Wow. And even like getting on the bus in time and like basic like etiquettes like that, that's you would never think that. So
Yeah, yeah.
so you now like get to play with the Warriors, for the season. Like did you have like a welcome like in a moment in that first year of your season with the Warriors that like told you like, hey, I belong here. Like I could actually hoop with these guys. Can you kind of walk me through that or a specific moment you remember?
Yeah, I think it was the very first game. I think we played Portland Trailblazers. It was like the first time me putting on the NBA jersey, seeing my name on the back of a
Yeah.
jersey, riding on a charter plane, being on the bus with the guys, being, being teammates with Baron Davis, Monte Ellis, Steven Jackson, Al Harrington, Matt Barnes. Just a few days earlier, I was playing NBA 2K, with Baron Davis as one of my favorite players. So
Yeah.
it's just crazy how that, that's kind of like my welcome to the NBA moment. And like I said, just going out there and scoring your first bucket. I think we got blown out in that game, but I got a chance to play a lot in that game and scored 11 points. That's like stuff you'll never forget.
That's awesome, man. And what was it like playing like with those guys, right? Like Steven Jackson, Baron Davis. What an exciting team. Monte Ellis. What a scorer, man. So what was it like kind of vibing with that? That was like the Warrior squad before, the Warriors obviously became like the dynasty that they were. But like what was it like playing with that squad? Because I used to watch them all the time.
It was fun, man, and just playing in that system with Don Nelson. He's a free flowing, fast break type system, so that system lets you be who you are naturally as a player. I think Coach Nelson would take you out if you didn't shoot the ball. So it's definitely fun playing with freedom like that and playing with guys who know how to play. And like I said, the system still works. I use some of his plays now to this day and give them to my friends and teammates to use for their teams and stuff like that. So it was fun playing with those guys. I learned a lot from them.
That's awesome, man. Now, before we transition to probably the part of this episode that I'm like so excited for to talk about, the Bulls, I just wanted to take a moment and just like to take a step back and like, all right, you made it to the NBA, right? And just walk me through a little bit about like what was it like with your family? Like what was their reaction? Like this is a huge milestone, man. Like you wanted to give back, you wanted to, make mom dad like proud, like all that good stuff. Like kind of walk me through outside of the NBA life. What was that like when you finally, made it?
I mean, it was probably, I mean, I'm sure I'll still never know the extent of how proud, they are of me, but I'm sure they were definitely proud, just from having their son be able to play or accomplish a dream and then them coming to be able to see me play and all that kind of stuff. So I definitely, like I said, I never understand probably how proud they are, but I'm sure they're proud. I'm sure they brag a lot. I hear it sometimes, but it's definitely fun to be able to do that and have your parents still alive and be able to see them uh, be able to see them and of you doing great things that you want to do in your life.
Of course, man. Now that is awesome, and it's a huge, huge milestone, man. So I've kind of accepted the fact that my NBA goals are now tied to like LA Fitness, man. But you know what? We'll take it, man.
Right.
So you are now, part of the Chicago Bulls, and I had to kind of just, have a segment for the Bulls on this episode because, hey, man, I grew up as a Bulls fan, and uh, I'm telling you, man, even till now, like we have not felt the excitement in the air for the Chicago Bulls up until the time when you guys were, that the whole squad with D Rose, you, Luol Deng, etc. was there. Like you felt it in the air, man. So kind of walk me through your time with Chicago. How was it? How was the organization? Like how was the teammates? We'd love to kind of hear your raw thoughts on that, man.
Man, it was fun, man. That's like I always say I'm grateful for getting the call up from the Warriors, but my favorite team of all time is always playing for the Bulls, just because how successful we were as a team. That year, even for me, like I never thought as a free agent that they were looking at me. So like I said, even coming into that year, we were I think picked like 11th or 12th to even in the conference that year, in the Eastern Conference, and then to surprise and shock everyone to come out and play as well as we did with a new head coach who's never been a head coach before. So he had a lot to prove also. So, but I think everyone on the squad had a lot to prove, starting from D Rose, going to Luau, to Joe, to Booze, to Bogans, to Ronnie Brewer, Kyle, everybody. So I definitely think it was a team effort, and no one had an ego. Even like D Rose, D Rose never had an ego. We all knew he was the superstar, and the team revolved around him. And then everyone else just fell in line. So I think that's where everything kind of just took off, and we all hung out together. Like on the road, we all hung out together, went to eat. So I definitely think that was a big thing with team chemistry and why we were so successful on the court. And our practices were super hard. Like our practices were crazy hard. They were more difficult than the game sometimes.
Wow, wow, that's awesome. So, you think that like you've obviously played in like other teams, and you obviously are friends with obviously people who played in different teams. Do you think that's actually something that's apparent, like that some people who play in various teams aren't boys? Like, I'm sure that makes a huge difference. Does that happen? Like where people just play, they're not like boys, they're not chilling. Does that happen a lot in the
Yeah.
NBA?
I think it does. Yeah. I mean, it's business. It's a job, right?
You're
I
right.
mean, a
Yeah.
lot of people that work at maybe Apple or Google, they probably don't hang out on the on the weekends.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, it just happens. You're just tired of people sometimes after seeing them for so long, and
Yeah.
especially with teams and sports, you're with these guys probably more than you're with your family. So, and you got to be with them. Sometimes you got good practices. Sometimes you have bad practices. Sometimes you're going at each other's throats and heads, and sometimes you got to understand it's always competitive. Also, everyone wants to play, but obviously you can't. So it's you have all those things that kind of coincide with the success of a team. But I think that team, like I said, we all knew who was starting, who was coming off the bench, so there's really no egos, but we all wanted to
Everyone knew
play
their
well. And
roles.
yeah, everyone knew our role and played it to perfection. And if someone was injured or hurt and it was time for you to step up, then you did your job and you hopefully did it to your best of your ability.
100%, man. And I was talking about like regarding like just the buzz and excitement in the air. Did you feel that, like being on the other side, like as a player? Like did you feel like the excitement that we as fans had during that time in the NBA as Bulls fans?
Somewhat. I mean, 'cause like I said, probably shouldn't say this, but we went out a lot, and
Yeah.
we had
You
fun.
saw
But
it.
like I said, I think it was the city was just it was crazy.
Buzzing.
Like I said, how successful that when that team was, and like the city was buzzing, especially in the playoffs, man. Because we really felt that we were going to win a championship, and we
Yeah.
wanted to bring one back to Chicago for the fans, and because we know that they deserve that. And the Bulls era, the Jordan era, they kind of brought that swagger to it, and we wanted to kind of bring it also, but we just couldn't get it done. But we definitely felt the buzz in the city because, like I said, during those when we knew the playoffs were in, we were ready to lock in, and we knew what it was time to do.
Absolutely, man. And that's awesome that you guys felt it too, because it was just, it was just something else, man. And kind of going to that, you mentioned this player, obviously, Derrick Rose. What was it like playing with Derrick Rose, our MVP? What was it like Like, how was it? How was the vibe? Seeing him being the MVP, like, kind of walk me through what it was like just kind of playing with Derrick Rose that year.
It was cool, man. Just like I said, being around him, he doesn't. I mean, when I first met him, I knew I was shy. I didn't talk a lot, but I was like, D Rose doesn't talk at all. He only really talks to you like you're in his inner circle and stuff like that, which is cool, which is great. So it was always cool to play with him, man. Like I said, the work ethic that he put in and day in and day out, just to be great and to be better and prove a lot of people wrong. As a number one pick with the pressure of playing in his own hometown city with so many people probably always reaching out to him and stuff like that. I definitely think it takes a lot to do that and be successful. And like I said, he did it to the best of his ability.
Absolutely, man. And obviously that there was the following year, right, where the injury happened. Kind of walk me through that. What was that like? It's flash forward, right? We're only talking you flash forward, like he's successful, he's a businessman now, he's doing this, he came back 50-point game with Minnesota, so it's so cool to when you look back in time to see
Yeah,
him like overcome all those mental obstacles. But in that moment, our hearts broke, right? Like
yeah.
we're depressed, man. So what was that like, being on the other side as a player and teammates?
It was tough, man, because we were all injured that year, so we were just, oh
Yeah.
man, he's down for now, but he'll be back.
Yeah.
But he didn't come back, so it was definitely hard because, like I said, we felt like we learned that first year going to the Eastern Conference Finals, and if we have to face LeBron in Miami again, then we'll beat him this time. So especially with the injured team, and I think we just added Rip that year too. So we were ready for a championship, and Rip has already won a championship and been on a lot of great teams. So we were thinking we were going to win a championship that year, but like I said, injuries happen and it sucks. But he's definitely bouncing back forward, and we just couldn't. It's hard to win without your best player.
Of course, man. Well, before we kind of get to other elements and things like that in this, especially like the mental aspect and the work ethic, just wanted to end off this bull segment here by just kind of asking you, like, what was your like favorite memory? And on, when playing with the Bulls, do you have a specific one? Like, obviously, I still remember the game where you sent it to overtime. I think it was against Miami. You guys ended up winning that game. You hit that three.
Yeah,
But do you have a favorite moment when
I
playing with the
mean,
Bulls?
if I had to just pick one and just off the top of my head, it would probably be that one. That was a big moment.
It's huge.
So yeah, playing for that game, hitting a big shot like that, and for us winning, I think that was a big game for us just for seeding too. I think we were still number one. I think since we won that game. So, but yeah, it was a great feeling. Like man, playing in United Center with the fans roaring when you hit a big shot and the fans are screaming and cheering for you. There's no feeling like that having 20,000 people cheer for
Yeah,
you.
man.
So it's just crazy.
And it's crazy because like you didn't even take the first shot. You got the ball and like
Yeah,
you kind of like dribbled to the side and then you kind of took it a hand in the face. So how
yeah,
does that
yeah,
even come about, man? That's probably like all those thousands of shots you've taken. Like you don't even have time to
yeah.
react, right?
Yeah, like my friend, my teammate Keith Bogans would always say, I was the decoy for that play.
Yeah.
And the ball was not supposed to come to me, but it came
Yeah.
to me. So like I said, I just had to be ready and make a play, and I just made a tough shot. Like I said, thank God it went in.
That's awesome, man. That was electrifying, man. And obviously, Stacey King, man, you can't forget
Yeah, yeah,
him being the announcer, CJ Watson. Like it's still in our
yeah,
heads,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
So that was good times, man. So now transitioning to like outside of the Bulls and things of that sort. I've listened to some of your interviews, and you mentioned that, like, for example, Kobe Bryant had an impact on you, like from the approach of the game, the mental aspect, and things like that. So can you kind of share a little bit about like what that was like? And the only reason, I mean, I don't know if you can see, I have two Kobe Bryant like plaques behind
Oh
me.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, Mamba
yeah.
mentality is like huge for me personally. So kind of walk me through like that relationship with Kobe and your experience like going up against him and things like that on the court.
Yeah, I never really had like a close relationship with Kobe. Just always just followed him, since my time in high school. One of the opposing coaches compared me to Kobe in high school, and I was like, that's great and all, but I'm not Kobe. But like I said, it was a great thing for him to do that. But I just from then on, I just admired Kobe. He came to speak to us at a ABCD camp when I was in high school as a senior, and that was a big moment because, like I said, I always watched him and the fro Kobe and win championships and
Yeah,
make tough shots. So I just think the way he approached the game, he just being resilient, being tough minded, just it was just besides sports like that can kind of coincide with everything just in life. So just the way he approaches just life in general, I think besides sports, it can relate to everything. Any hardworking person can relate to Kobe and the mindset that he has.
100%. Like personally, it's I like embarked on some like just getting personal here. I embarked on some like fitness challenge over the past like 75 days. It's called 75 hard, and one of the components for it is you have to do two workouts a day. And that was coming from zero. Like that was a lot. Like one has to be outdoors, one has to be indoor, two workouts a day. And at one point, I'm like working out. I'm like, I'm tired, I'm exhausted, and then randomly I go on some like YouTube video and I go to Kobe Bryant motivation, and I see I'm literally working out and I hear a clip of him saying, yeah, It's not about doing workout a day. It's not about doing 2. It's not about doing 3. It's about doing 4. Like things like that. I'm like, man, here I am like complaining about 2, and Kobe was doing like 4 workouts a day. Like it's just
Yeah, Kobe was a beast, man. He was just different. Like what said, he
built
wanted to be
different.
really great, and that's where I think it's more about legacy with him, and giving back to the game too. So, like I said, everyone, just any regular person can just relate to that and that mentality and apply it to your life.
100%, man. Well, kind of erring on that side of like growth and longevity and everything in between. Dude, 10 years in the NBA, that's a lot, man. That's a lot of time. And very few people, let alone have the opportunity to play in the NBA. I mean, this is my NBA right here. You got to play in the NBA for 10 years. Did you have like any veterans that kind of taught you how to be like a professional and like help carry yourself for this tenure that you had, for 10 years?
Yeah, I would say David West was a big part of that, playing with him in Indiana. Guys like Kurt Thomas, and Scalabrine. Um, so yeah, I mean, every stop I had someone really kind of preaching the professional side of sports. How to carry yourself, how to be business minded, business savvy. Just talking good with the media and not bashing anybody, not bashing your teammates. So I think it's just every stop. And then my last stop was kind of like in Orlando.
Yeah,
I was kind of the vet of the team, so I was kind of like relaying those messages to guys and trying to help guys, just be better. So I think, obviously, when your time comes as you get older, you're kind of seen as that big brother type person, and with a lot of wisdom and knowledge because you've been through pretty much everything you can see in the NBA or just in life, kind of too.
that's awesome, man. And that's so cool that like you're giving back, right? And it's just like the as I'm getting older, it's kind of like this just the stages of life, right? Like when I started making content back in the day, like I was always like I try to be a little older, a big bro to a lot of the people. But now like 10 years later, as I'm getting back into making content, I feel like I'm trying to give back too to the younger generation of people, which is why we're doing a series like that. Before we get to post NBA life, which I want to kind of end off with that whole like, chapter, man, just regarding the work ethic and the mindset. 10 years in the NBA, it has to take some level of like fortitude and grit, man, to kind of do it. So, can you walk me through you being not satisfying for complacency and continuing to push the bar because as your career progressed, like you were getting better and better, man. Even after, the Bulls, like you had a great season and things like that. So, can you walk me through like your mindset and your work ethic just to keep on approaching the game, to keep on evolving, keep on getting better, everything in between?
Yeah, I just wanted to be the best I could year after year because I knew, someone was obviously coming in trying to take my job. And like I said, I was undrafted, so I didn't, there's nothing really ever promised to me. Even like to drafted guys, there's nothing promised to them too. So I knew for me that time could be up at any moment. So I just wanted to make the most of it and try to play as long as I could, develop as many relationships as I could, meet as many people. And, like I said, basketball has taken me so many places around the world for free just by playing a game of basketball. And I got to see kind of pretty much a whole bunch of different cultures, different countries that I probably would have never went to on my own. So I definitely, very grateful for basketball and what it's taught me and places it's taken me.
That is awesome, man. Now, I want to obviously it's actually convenient because we're like in the fourth quarter, so like each quarter I'm kind of and I'm sorry, man, this is not easy like hooping, but I'm getting buckets with you, man. So if that makes you feel better, but gaming and having a combo, but this is a lot of fun, man. But all right, fourth quarter, you now are transitioning from the NBA. Kind of walk me through like what that looked like moving on. I can't even imagine how much wear and tear you had in your body. 10 years, like what was that like? And how did you know it was kind of time to kind of start this next chapter of life?
I mean, it's always time when no one else signs you. I feel like, but yeah, I thought I could have played maybe another year or two in the league. But like I said, my contract was over in Orlando, and then no one else signed me. So I wanted to, I kept working out actually. So I thought I can, like I said, have more time. And then I went and played overseas for a couple months and just twisted my ankle really bad. And I was like, oh, I'm not really kind of. I didn't come to Turkey to get hurt, so
Yeah,
let me take my ass home and just start something new. So I just kept diving into my foundation work here in Vegas with the kids in the inner city where I grew up here in Vegas, and then was randomly just had an idea about writing children's books, so
yeah.
I went through with that, and then I wrote 4 children's books. So and now I'm trying to turn those into a cartoon series, and then been angel investing. So I love tech and I love sports and wellness, and I want to be a team owner one day. So, and randomly invested in a pickleball team in minority stake.
Wow.
So definitely love stuff like that. So just really diving deep into the angel investing in private equity venture capital space.
That's awesome, man. That's a huge space, man. So well, number one, congrats. Like you wrote a book. That is like multiple books. Like what was that process like? Obviously, I'm sure there may have not been experience unless you were like a writer during your time in the NBA. So like how did you even think of wanting to do that? And it's a kid's book too, right? So how did that all come about?
Yeah, I just had an idea one day, and once I start an idea, I want to go out and finish it and try to see if I can finish it. I never really wanted to be an author. It just kind of like I said, it just happened. My whole thinking was I wanted to continue to tell my story now that I wasn't in the NBA, but also inspire the next generation and kids. And I said, what better way than to put it in a book because kids need to read, and reading is fundamental. So I called one of my former coaches from back in the day, and he was an author. So I asked him for advice here and there. He gave it to me, and then that's what I said. The first book came about, and then I was like, I have a couple more stories I want to tell and inspire kids, and that's how the second, third, and fourth one came about, and also published a coloring book too. So that's kind of like and then like I said, I tested it with my kids. If I knew if my kids didn't like
Yeah.
the book, then I shouldn't publish it. So my kids actually said it. Yeah, I liked it. Maybe they liked it because of their dad. I don't know, but at the time, they loved it. So
That is awesome, man. I mean, who gets to say they got to play in the NBA and they got to write books? And maybe if you can talk a little bit also about like your foundation and like giving back to the youth in the community in Vegas, like that. And that's so cool, man, that you're still giving back. Like, what are you doing? Like, how's that going? We'll love to shed some light on that as well, man.
yeah, so it's called the Quiet Storm Foundation. We have 3 events every year. We have a free basketball camp, a free out of school program, and a Black History essay contest. And the essay contest, when I played in the NBA, we would fly the students to whatever city I played in, bring them to a game, free flight, free hotel, free limo ride. But now that I'm retired, we fly them to DC and take them to the Black History Museum for a tour and another like a HBCU tour. So I definitely think it's a cool experience. Like I said, I never got a chance to play in the NBA game or anything before I played in one. So, just trying to give kids different opportunities and stuff like that.
That's awesome, man. So, it's so cool because, when you kind of explain like life post NBA for you, one thing that I kind of took out of that was just like that still competitive edge, right? Like you're not complacent. You're like it's a whole different like competitive game in the sense that you're giving back to the youth, you're writing books, you're into investing and kind of growing that arm. So, it's so cool just to see that transition, man. Like you're not settling for just complacency, and I think that is just the competitor in you as a hooper, as a person, and everything in between, man. Like Mamba mentality lives on, if you will.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, we got a picture in our wall that has Mamba mentality. So, like I said, that's a daily thing and a daily aspiration for me and my family. So, like I said, I'm super competitive, but competitive to where I just want to be great and make the day the best I can. So, I think that's that's what Kobe would want, and that's what everyone should want for themselves.
Cool. And before we kind of segment off to the last portion where we're just kind of talking about like advice and things like that, I just kind of have to ask, man, are you still hooping? Like, are you still giving people that work?
No, no, I stopped playing basketball years ago, and unfortunately, I just played
Yeah.
yesterday, just for fun. Like it wasn't like nothing serious either. And my body's in so much pain. I said this is why I don't play. So I'm walking today with a limp and
Yeah.
everything.
It's funny though because you say you don't play, but like if you were to go to like you ever see like those NBA players that go to like LA Fitness, you'd probably be the best player on the court like times 200, man. So
Yeah, yeah. But like I said, if you're the best player, then I'm in the wrong gym. So
look at that.
I was just there just to have fun. But like I said, it was fun. I wasn't playing no defense. I was just shooting open shots and setting picks for people.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, as we, kind of get on this tail end of this episode, I want to start kind of asking about advice because we're going to have different people watching this episode. Some may be, in middle school, high school, college, whatever. A lot of people have dreams, on playing pro basketball. So, what advice would you give to, somebody who dreams about kind of going to the highest level?
Just have fun, man, with it. Obviously, you got to put the work in. You got to practice daily. But you also got to believe in yourself. Surround yourself with good people. We're going to give you the honest truth. And just make smart decisions. I definitely think, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. That's what I really believe in. And you gotta have a plan B, because there's only 1% of us that go to the NBA, and then there's very few that play, longer than 2 or 3 years. So whatever you do, it's not going to last super long in sports. So whatever you do, just have a backup plan to where you always want to, be able to do something else. So, or let the sports open up other doors, like, if you want to be an actor, or whatever the case may be. So just let sports open those other doors for you, and try to tackle those and be super competitive in those, because there's so many things you can do besides just being an athlete. You can work in sports, you can be in sports business, work as a trainer or a front office person. So a lot of things you can do besides just being an athlete. Athlete isn't the end all be all.
I love it, man. I mean, and in some sense, like for those watching, like obviously, I think at an early age, being a little brown dude like myself, I realized I can't go to the league, but you know what I'm saying? Like playing 2K and like having a conversation like this, and like I was on a commercial with Kevin Durant back in the year, like things like that, still being connected to the game. You know, there's a lot of ways to still be part of the game. So I really appreciate you mentioning that. Another question that comes to mind is like, if you can give your younger self advice, what would that be? Like if you can go back in time and give your younger self, whether that's in high school, college, and that's deep, what advice would that be?
Mm. I would say to my younger self, just have fun with the process. Sometimes it's gonna go good, sometimes it's gonna go bad, but don't lose faith, don't lose hope, and what's meant to be will be.
I love it, man. I love it. Well, CJ, number one, it's been an honor. And before we conclude, this is something I did last episode. I want to kind of just do it. It's a little bit fun. It's just like quick, like rapid fire questions. Is that cool? We just kind of ask some fun fire questions before we conclude.
Yeah, that's cool.
Game is done now. I'm just chilling now. Finally, just gonna want to ask these fun questions. So number one, if you can pick one of your favorite NBA teammates to play with, like who was that? It doesn't have to be the favorite. Don't want to single anybody out, but if you had like, one, dude that you remember vividly playing with, it was a lot of fun. Like who is that player?
I would say Joakim Noah. Always, he was one of my favorite teammates, and I've had a lot of battles with him in college too. So I would pick
Yeah,
him.
I can't even imagine just being from a fan what practice was like. You said you had some competitive
Yeah,
practices, probably crazy.
it was, yeah, yeah. Practices are always hard. Yeah, Joe was always talking trash too, so it was always fun.
Love it. Number two, like, who was one of the toughest players you actually had to guard in the league?
I always say my first thought is always Tony Parker. People, would think it's like CP or D Will or something like that, but I would say like Tony Parker was always tough, because he was super fast. He had floaters. He couldn't really shoot that well, but get him into the mid range, and with other players like Tim Duncan, Ginobili, like he was always a threat.
Yeah, man. Wow, what a squad they had, man. Uh, Favorite city to play in? So, like, obviously, you traveled all across to all the games, to various teams. Was there like a particular city that you really like playing in as an away team?
I love playing in New York, because obviously it's New York, Madison Square Garden. I love playing in LA, Staples Center. It's not Staples Center anymore, but those are probably my two favorites.
Love it, man. And I guess then just the last question. This is just kind of keeping it real. Like, if there was one word that you can use to describe like your journey so far in NBA, post NBA, everything in between, is there like a word that you can kind of think of that kind of summarizes it all?
I would say resilient. Just be able, like I said, from undrafted to playing 10 years to just trying to make the second act better than the first act with the post career stuff. So I would say, resilient.
Bars, man. That's deep. You may have just given me the title for this episode, man. But before we conclude, man, any closing comments, anything you want to share before we kind of wrap this up, man? This is awesome.
Man, thanks, man. If you want to go purchase the books, go to Amazon under the book titles CJ's Big Dream, or personal website cjpens.com, and just appreciate everything, man.
I appreciate you, man. Just being it wasn't too long ago, bro, where I would have probably been in the court and I would have been at a Bulls game screaming your name, and you're probably like, bro, who's this random dude? And like, we grow up, man. But it's just an honor and blessing, man, to even be able to chat with somebody like you, man, in your caliber. And it's just so cool, honestly, now as a father of three, just to see how much you're still giving back, right? Because there's more than just the game. And there's a whole lot of people out there, many of them who are struggling and things of that sort. So the fact that, you're still focusing in the game, you're still connected to the game in that capacity, but you're doing so many other things, just personally, it's, really, really inspirational. But just wanted to thank you once again, CJ, for being on the episode. And we'll definitely have your links and your socials and everything in between in the description. You're the best, man. From one random DM to actually having this conversation over a game of 2K. We got buckets with you, by the way. I appreciate it, man.
No problem. Who won the game?
We won, of course, man.
Okay, making sure, man. Making
have to,
sure.
have to, have to, man. You're the best, man. Keep it real.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
If you made it this far, I appreciate you for watching that episode with CJ Watson. I can't believe we got an NBA player on this podcast, if you will. Like, who would have thought that this would have ever happened? Young me would have never. I mean, I grew up watching CJ Watson, the Bulls, and everybody, and now we have him on an episode. It's just so surreal to me. I'm blessed, I'm grateful, and there's a lot more work to do. So once again, if you haven't subscribed already, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and let me know in the comments down below who should I interview next. And it's kind of hard, right? I'm playing 2K, I'm interviewing. If you have any feedback for me to get better, always open to it. But just grateful and blessed, excited to take on this journey with all of y'all. Much love, and I'll see you in the next episode, everybody. Peace.